Hello, everybody. How are you? This is Attorney Defilia Diaz. We are doing this in English. As I am waiting for YouTube to go online. Hello, everybody. We are in TikTok, we are in Instagram, and I'm recording this special video for YouTube, Attorneys Valencia and Diaz. Hello, everybody. This is Attorney Defilia Diaz. As I told you, we are going to do this in English on Fridays. I am so sure that there is another group of immigrants in the United States or outside of the United States that wanted to apply for a U visa. So we are going to be learning about the U visa process, what is the requirement for U visas on Fridays, but this is going to be in English. Normally, I broadcast in Spanish because Spanish, it is my mother language, but I decided to try it out and do an experiment in English. So sadly, I have to have 10 subscribers in YouTube for me to go live directly in the new YouTube channel, Attorneys Valencia and Diaz. So please go ahead and look for us at YouTube as Attorneys Valencia and Diaz and hit the button to subscribe so I can go on live in that channel and we have interaction in that way. So far, I had to go on live in the YouTube Spanish. So hello everybody, hola, ¿cómo están? Estamos en inglés. Entonces, por favor, vayan a Attorneys Valencia and Diaz and hit the button subscribe. So it will help me tremendously so I can go live on that channel. So Fridays, we're going to be speaking in English. I know that for my audience, which always we speak in Spanish, they're going to be, what in the world? But yeah, we're going to be speaking in English on Fridays because I know that there's a lot of people that the second language is as well English, and they want to learn about the U visas, and I wanted to try it out and see who is out there, okay? So if you have any question or you want me to talk about something in specific about the U visa, as always, the interaction that we have here in this channel, do not substitute that you go with your attorney or with any attorney to just seek a special legal advice that is on your case, that is applicable for your facts and in your life. So the interactions here do not substitute legal advice. For all of those that they are just wondering what is that noise, it is Piper. Piper is the dog that comes to the office and is my dog and is just next to me. So briefly, in this first video that is in English for U visa, we are going to be talking about, hello, stop it. Hello, we are going to be talking about what are the requirements for a U visa and what is a U visa. Let's start there. I don't know if for you that you are just for the first time listening to Attorneys Valencia and Diaz in English, you know what is a U visa. So a U visa, it is actually not a visa per se. It is not something that it will allow you to be traveling back and forth. It is a U visa. It is a wrongly given name to a petition. So what you get when you file the petition and what that petition is approved, it is a U non-immigrant status. So actually should be named, it should be referred as a U non-immigrant status, but is normally referred as U visa, okay? So I'm gonna keep referring as U visa because everybody calls it a U visa. Or when it's actually a U visa, it is when you are outside of the United States and that gets approved, and then it is issued actually a U visa for you to travel. So a visa, it is when you are traveling outside and inside to the United States, okay? So this petition, which is called the U visa, has special requirements as any other petition. And those requirements have to be met for you to be able to get granted the U visa. The first one, it is that you have to be a victim of a crime. And later on, we are going to be discovering what is the three types of victim. You will be thinking, is there a type of victims? You know, I only think that a victim can be, the direct victim, the person that get injured in a crime. And I'm going to be teaching you how to think of what is the crimes, how we are victims of a crime, because sometimes we think and refer to the crimes as incidents or accidents, but they are truly crimes, okay? So you have to be a victim of a crime. And for you to be a victim of a crime, you cannot make that up. You cannot fabricate that situation. Why? Because you cannot control being a victim of a crime. It is you are right there in that spot, in that time, in that moment in time, and you happen to be a victim of a crime. So it is fortuitous, so it just happened, but once it happened to you, Piper, hello? Once it happens to you, then you have to remember that the condition for you to be able to apply for the U visa, it is that you call and cooperate with law enforcement. Law enforcement, it is the police. We call us the police. But law enforcement can be the police when you call 911 and comes right away, or law enforcement also can be the prosecutor's office. If that person, the abuser, is arrested and then it is the criminal case is open, then you have the obligation, a U visa petitioner, to continue your help, your collaboration with the prosecutor's office. And also we can have the judge help you in the petition of U visa. And you might think, why this all is connected? Why there is a condition of me helping the police for me to obtain the U visa? Well, when the U visa law was enacted, 2000, the congressman and congresswoman thought that there have to be an incentive for immigrants in this country that they have been victimized, for them to collaborate, to report the crime to law enforcement, because immigrants in this country can be and are targeted because their condition or their status as immigrants in this country, and they fear the police, they fear to go to the court, they fear to help law enforcement, because then they can get in contact with immigration, they can get arrested, and they can get deported, and they will be placing their family situation at risk. So they said, well, let's give them an incentive. Let's give them a petition for them to feel safe in the United States. And that's how the U visa got created. Okay, so that's why there is a condition, and that condition must be followed, that the U visa petitioner has to collaborate with law enforcement, the prosecutor's office, or the judge. And you might say, well, what happened if that abuser or the aggressor is never arrested? That doesn't really matter, as long as you call the police, as long as you dial 911, or as long as the next day you go to the precinct and you file a police report, that it is collaboration. There is no need to show that the abuser was arrested. There is no need to show that the abuser was convicted. Because collaboration means I am telling you everything that I know. And if that person, the abuser, the arrested, had a ski mask and I didn't get to see the face, that doesn't really matter, because the collaboration has to be reasonable according to the law. And reasonable means everything that I can do with, what I have. Okay? So that it is the condition. We have to remain open to collaborate with law enforcement once we do the police report. What type of crimes qualify? So it is not any type of crime that qualifies for a U visa. Has to be very violent, and has to be a type of crime where the petitioner is suffering physically or mentally. So there is a list. Piper, hello. There is a list where there is the listed crimes. Give me a second, because Piper he got surgery, so he had the cone of shame, and I took it off, and now she is licking. So anyway, so there is a list of crimes that they qualify you for a U visa. That list of crimes, it is just enunciative. There is no limitative. What that means, that there is just an example of the crimes that they came up to the congresswoman and congressman back in 2000 when they enacted the law. Those crimes, they are extreme, violent, and aggressive to the humankind. So what are the examples of these crimes? It can be domestic violence, it can be rape, it can be sexual assault, it can be false imprisonment, it can be unlawful restraint. However, one of the crimes that qualifies but is not listed there, it is aggravated robbery or robbery. Most of the terms will say it's not listed, it will not qualify. However, aggravated robbery and robbery does qualify, because the law included an exception. And all the laws, we have the general law and general phrase of the law, but then we can, if you keep reading all the laws, maybe they will have an exception. And the exception here in the U visa, it is that any other similar crime will qualify for the U visa. So the similar crime in this case, it will be aggravated robbery or robbery because they are felonies, and felonies normally with an act of aggression, and this type of crime won't qualify. So we have to make sure that the elements of the crime that happen to the victim, they're gonna be making them qualify under the statute, under the law. So it is, for example, they tell me, well, what about if I was a victim of theft? Theft, it is they took my purse, but I was not there, but there was no violence. It's theft. It is not robbery. It is not aggravated robbery. That doesn't qualify. So it has to be, the crime has to be to the person, to the human being, not to the property. So there is another example, burglary. Burglary, it is a crime against the property, against the dwelling. But what happened if the person was inside the premises? That there is a difference. There is a breaking and entering of a dwelling, but the person was inside. So there was an act of aggression against a person, against a human being. So the things can change depending on the facts. So that's why I'm saying it is very important for you to go to an attorney, okay? So we explore the victim of a crime, cooperation with law enforcement, and then we have to also place or file evidence that the victim suffer mental or physical injury. And here the key is substantial physical or mental injury. Substantial physical or mental injury. Most of my clients did not suffer substantial physical injury. Physical injury, that means that you had to go into surgery, that you have broken bones, they shot at you. You don't have to have that. It can be shown substantial mental injury, and most of my clients will exhibit that, and it will have symptoms of that, of the substantial mental injury, and you can prove it with a psychological report. It is normally all my clients that they were victim of crimes in this country, of these violent crimes, they can show you that they have been suffering mentally. And normally all of them, they get diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, or depression. One of those three. Why? Because they were extremely violent. It takes so much time for them to get back in their feet mentally. It was traumatic. So that is what you have to show to immigration, and that you will be able to show that in an affidavit and with the psychological report. Okay? So don't get excited that just because you were not shot, and maybe because they would just punch you in the face or kick you, or maybe you were a victim of aggravated robbery and they would just point at you with the gun, that disqualifies you immediately, and that's not true. Okay? Next, you have to be admissible. And here's where we are going to be very technical. And we dive in directly in what I love about the U visa, because it is extremely flexible. And most of the time, people will not believe me about when I said they will waive many inadmissibility or many violations of the immigration laws that will not be waived or pardoned in another petitions in immigration. So this is one of the petitions that is extremely versatile, flexible. It is like an oasis in the desert, because it can pardon, it can waive crimes. If you were convicted of domestic violence, drugs, violence, any related that it will render inadmissible, or it cannot be pardoned in any other petition, the U visa can give you that waiver. The other thing, it is deportation, removals. If you were removed from the United States and then you re-entry and then you got deported back again, the U visa will pardon that, will waive that very easily. Any other immigration violations, they can also be waived. The only thing that cannot be waived under the U visa, it is that if you participated in any way, shape, or form in a Nazi activity, World War II, or so you can have that idea, or you have been involved in a terroristic activity, or you're a terrorist, okay? So that's the only thing that they will not waive. That doesn't mean that it's just automatic, the waiver. You have to file it, and sometimes immigration will want you to file some equities, but that we can just talk about in another videos. I don't want to just talked about so much about what is the waiver and what the waiver consists. But I wanted to just make sure that here in the U visa petitions, there is this fabulous waiver that it will enable you to get documents and status in the United States where another petitions will not. The crime has to be in the US. That is also a great question because sometimes I was a victim outside of the US. The crime has to be in the US. Okay, so that is all my explanation. So I'm sure that I have some questions in Spanish. So I'm gonna be translating that. Yeah, I saw Seba speaking in. Okay, dice Griselda Montalvo. Hi, thank you very much, Griselda. From California. I love that you tell me where you are listening to me from. I love to know which part of the world are you in. Good morning, abogada. So that means good morning, attorney. I love everything you do. I thank you very much. My date. Oh, we have in English. Right. I get so excited because we have comments in English. Griselda Montalvo say, hi, my date is December 2016. You think I will have a visa this year? So one of the things it is that the U visa, there is only an approval of 10,000 visas per year, per fiscal year. So back in, remember that I was telling you that 2000, the U visa was enacted. Back in that day, the congressman and congresswoman were so naive to think that we only needed 10,000 visas available per year. There were not so many crime in this country, and not all the victims were victimized and targeted. Well, guess what? Those 10,000 are not enough right now. So we are extremely backlogged, surprise, surprise, as any other field in immigration. And right now, the 10,000 are given to the people that had filed, my guesstimation is to the people that have filed the U visas in the first 6 months of 2016. First 6 months of 2016. So if you were December 2016, maybe you're going to be in the next calendar fiscal year, okay? Thank you very much, Francisco. Buenos días. My partner entered in 2021. She came because she was threatened. And when she came to the US, she was kidnapped by her brother who lived with us in Mexico. And we haven't heard anything from my brother. Well, you need to contact the authorities. I don't know where that happened. So you need to call an attorney maybe that helps you to file a police report. Maria Tapia dice, abogada, good morning. My attorney sent a request to immigration, the acceleration or the request to expedite my case because I am still scared because of my husband. I have 2 months and I have not received anything. Well, you can contact with him. You can get in contact with your attorney and request a copy of the request to expedite. This request to expedite the case, you can file it, or you should have filed it, or he should have filed it through what is called the hotline. And the hotline, it is an email. So just request an email, a copy of the email, so you can you can trust that something it is filed. De Arauz, abogada, good morning. I filed my U visa on October 16, 2019. How much longer? Okay, another thing for the people that are not so familiar with the U visa process. So in 2021, we had a memorandum, news from Immigration for UCIS, that created a new way for petitioners to obtain a work permit while the U visa filing was pending. And that review, it is a bona fide review. So what that means? Immigration officers are going to be just briefly looking in the case, the initial and the most important evidence. And if they pass this first review, that means that they are going to be granted a bona fide determination and therefore a work permit. So in this type of review, the bona fide review, the immigration, it is in 2018. So she's asking me 2008, I filed 2019, how much longer? So probably should be 1 year and 1.5 years. Okay. Rosy, thank you very much for your time to educate us. Spanish have been blessed to have you, and now other non-Spanish people have the opportunity to get to know the kind, caring, and amazing lawyer. Thank you, Rosy. So yeah, thank you very much. So this is an experiment. I love experiments. Experiments keep me alive. I dislike routine. You can ask my husband. I dislike very much routine. So this is a way for me to just be entertained and in the same wave of serving. So thank you very much, Rosie. Greetings from New York, Rosa, ¿cómo están? Sherin Malcolm dice, good morning. My file date was December 2021. My biometric was April 2022. How long do you think I have to wait for the EAD? EAD is Employment Authorization Document. So don't count the fingerprinting. The fingerprinting is when you go to immigration, it's an agency, a third-party agency, and you put your fingerprints. Don't count the fingerprinting date because I don't care about that. I care about when you file the case. So when you file the case, we have to go, she said, file the December 21. So if we are reviewing the bona fide determination in 2018, then 2021, I believe that we still have a couple of years to get to you, okay? Rosa Alexander, goodbye from Expansión. Somos más que una visa. Very good. So I have another group where I work with lovely immigrants, and that is called Expansion. We are more than a visa, because I truly believe that we are just more than a visa. We are just more than a number. And if you happen to be undocumented in this country, or you came with a visa but you don't have any status, that doesn't define you. And I challenge you to create an image aside from whether or not you have a status in this country, because you are capable of more in this country with visa or without a visa. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna go here in TikTok to see if we have something. And I have one hand trying to hold Piper from licking her wound, and my mind in you guys. So if you have abuse happened where your child, so this question comes in like separated. What if the abuse happened when you were a child? It doesn't really matter. What it matters is that you cooperated with law enforcement. So that's a great question, because sometimes client come to my office 15 years from when the crime occurred, and they were like, oh, I thought that I couldn't apply for the U visa because that happened a long time ago. It doesn't really matter. What it matters is that you file a police report and you cooperated with law enforcement, and it can happen the crime before 2000 when the U visa was enacted. Can I expedite my work permit for a special reason for the treatment after tumor surgery? Maybe and perhaps. So the reason to expedite any petition with immigration, not only the U visa, it can be, this is the most used reasons. One, if you have financial suffering or financial need, extreme financial need, and the other one, it is humanitarian reasons. So you can talk to your attorney, you can identify what is the reason, file a request, and perhaps it is approved. When the 765 card says mail to me, does it provide a tracking number? No, normally it doesn't give you a tracking number, but when it says mailed, it should be mailed to you. You should get that in the next couple of days. What if the abuse is, I answered that question. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. ¿Cuánto cuesta la petición de fiancé? Thank you. How much it is the fiancé petition, the K1? So you can go to Immigration UCIS website and you can see how much it is for filing that. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna be uploading this video because I cannot be live in that channel. This is the last one. They say, if my work permit says, it's the same thing. It's just keep going, the same question. Last one over here. My attorney said the U visa can't be expedited. Can you let me know where it said that the U visa can't be expedited with a federal lawsuit? That's completely different topic. So there is two ways to expedite a review for bona fide determination. One of them, it could be to file a lawsuit, which is called a mandamus. So a federal judge will be commanding or ordering UCIS with an officer, that is translated to an officer, to get you out of the line and review the case. That is one way. The other way, it could be to file a request directly with USCIS, and it's an expedited request. The expedited request, it is in UCIS, it's in the website, but it is not only for U visas. It says that is open to all other petitions. I have done it. I had succeed, but not all petitions will get approved and be successful in the request to expedite the case, because you have to include evidence and you have to determine which are the reasons that go directly to what UCIS had stated. That is enough reasons for that petition to be expedited, okay? So thank you very much. Please go to Attorneys Valencia and Diaz, which is the channel in YouTube, and give us a subscribe button. Click the subscribe button and activate the little bell so that it will tell you when we are live so we can interact. And I remind you that the interaction will not substitute legal advice, and I hope to see you next Friday. We are Valencia Diaz. I am an immigration attorney, and at Valencia and Diaz, we are in Cincinnati, Ohio. We can get a consultation with you over the phone. You can come also to the office if you want. The telephone number, it is 513-618-2005. However, the most important thing for me to just come here with you, and I hope that you listen until now, it is for you to be informed. Information, it is just power if you use the information. Otherwise, it is just it is power in it is not use power. So please use this power, use the information to advocate for you, for your case, and go and talk to an attorney if you need so. 513-618-2005. Until next Friday. Bye-bye.